Good.
What kind of beer you get?
It's a fucking lime ale. How fruity of me.
That's a little fruity. Anyway.
Lime ale.
Whatever, dude. What do you drink besides Corona?
Me?
Yeah.
What? Heineken, Guinness.
Oh,
anything dark.
You're well-rounded in your beers, pretty much. That's pretty good. All right. Flying Brian, hit us up. We can have some beer shit. We'll talk about that shit later. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the MMA Advocates, presented by CrossBonesMMA. My name is Eddie Law, out of LA. You can actually see his face this time. We got Jesse Ruvalcaba, of course, out of Dayton, Ohio. Our boy Fred Kirby, and from the ABQ, the man himself, Dave Rodriguez. UFC 209 went down this last weekend. Not what we expected, mostly because someone pulled out. So we're gonna go right into that. Khabib Nurmagomedov had to he got pulled basically. He didn't withdraw, whatever. He couldn't fight because of the weight cut, right? People were talking about his kidneys are fucked up. So the story behind it is this. And this is where what I want to get into, because it's a really weird situation. And Ali Abdelaziz was the one talking on, I think, on Hawani's show about it, right? Which is convenient as fuck to do. But regardless, here's what he says happened. Khabib was sick. He was fucked up. They literally, him and his team picked him up, took him right to some random hospital, right? And that's what, like, if you guys heard the post-fight press conference, where Dana says if they would have called, me or called someone from the UFC, we might have been able to save that fight. Well, Ali didn't even think about that shit. And this is a guy that manages over 40 fighters, and a lot of them are in the UFC. You know what I mean? Yep. So it's kind of fucked up for the fact that he doesn't know what he's doing. So Khabib withdraws, we lose Tony, because Tony don't want to fight Michael Johnson for half a paycheck and shit. The whole situation's fucked. The event itself went okay. I actually enjoyed it up until the main event that put me to sleep. So let's talk about Khabib first, Jesse. Khabib pulls out. Now you got this situation whether you either rebook the fight or you book for Ferguson versus Conor. What would you do? Let's say you put yourself in Dana White's shoes. What do you do with Ferguson and Khabib?
I think you look at first what Conor's going to do, and if you can force Conor to defend that title, then you give him Ferguson, like right off the bat. But if he's going to pull this, I'm going to do the Mayweather's thing, then you might as well just rebook that fight and still have a #1 contender. That way, at least you keep these two guys busy, and you don't do the Damian Maia thing of giving them some BS fight where one of them might end up losing to some nobody. Not that Masvidal's a nobody, but he ain't that high in the rankings, in my opinion. But
wouldn't you be worried about Khabib not showing up though?
Nah, I mean look at all the other fights that he's gotten to fight week. He makes it to it. I mean, this was one of the times. I think he's only missed weight one other time, right? It was against who was it? And I think he still ended up beating that guy, stopping him in like the second or third round or something like that. But I mean, if it's not a common thing, it's not a Kelvin Gastelum situation where, I mean, this guy is just constantly missing weight. I don't consider that too bad of a thing. The only thing that kind of worries me about the whole situation was everybody has Dr. Dave's telephone number, right? I mean, all the managers, they all know what the protocol is. You call the UFC, you let them know what's going on. They come in, they check out, and then they tell you, all right, we're going to do this, or we're going to send you here or there. But here's the other curious thing. Dr. Dave is a ER doctor or like general physician for a bunch of different hospitals out there in Vegas.
So he could have been on duty at that point.
They happen to pick the one that he is not affiliated with at all. So it's kind of curious that they went to one specifically that and then the other thing is that they just went dark, supposedly just trying to figure things out on their own. We all know Ali. We all know he's a shady guy. So something, in my opinion, I think something was up with beforehand. I think they were trying to hide something, some kind of maybe injury or maybe supplement of some sort. I'm not going to accuse nobody of no kind of supplements, but I'm just saying there's more to this story that Ali is definitely not going to reveal to anybody. But I think there's more to the story than we're being led to believe.
I mean, Fred, me and you were talking about this shit. We're both kind of pissed off we actually paid for that card, and then we didn't get no Khabib in that shit, right? So, I mean, what do you do, man? If you let's say you're in charge of booking Ferguson's next fight, and you go right for the Conor fight, or you give him Khabib again, or what do you want to do?
Fuck, I don't know, man. I mean, it's really hard to say what to do. I want to give him Khabib, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the fight we all want to see. That's the fight that needs to happen. That's why we were all so stoked for that fight to begin with. But what the fuck, right? It's like the boy that cried wolf, this cute cocksucker, whether he's hurt, the fucking 11th hour, he's got to be rushed to the hospital. Look, I don't really give a shit what the details are, whose doctor he called, who he didn't call first. I don't give a fuck. The reality is, in the 11th hour, that dude backed out of a huge fucking fight at the last minute with, you know, huge fucking implications on his career, too. You know what I'm saying? Like, this wasn't, like Jesse said, I'm not trying to, like, accuse nobody of nothing, but this was a big deal, dog.
Oh, yeah.
For him to drop out of this fight that late in the game, I don't know who did what wrong or what got miscommunicated, but somebody fucked up because this was not good for Khabib, man. I mean, I guess you could do, you know, Tony Conor, but who amongst us really wants to see that? It's going to feel like it got given to him. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
He didn't beat Khabib. Like, none of it. I don't even think Conor will take that fight because Conor's going to be like, man, fuck that shit. Dude didn't even fight who he was supposed to fight. Like, you know, fuck that. He's got to fight somebody. You know what I'm saying?
But Fred, think about your 170 champion who got a title shot off of another guy missing weight, and then he just sat out and waited for his title shot, which was when he had to fight what's his name, pudgy big rig, what's his face, Johnny Hendricks.
Yeah, but there you go. That's also in a shitbird division with shitbird champions, not fucking C-Mac himself. Losing Mayweather to fight fucking El Kakui. Not without coming off a win over fucking Khabib, man. I mean, Conor's just the money fighting the sport. I think they got to remake that fight. I just, you know, I dig it, man. I would be fucking, you know, not happy if I was Tony, and who could have confidence in Khabib showing up? I mean, I'm sure he will. You know, Jesus makes a good point in that fucking he's made a lot of fights. He's won, you know, what is he, 24-0 or whatever the fuck? 24 times he's made it and weighed in properly. But, you know, it's just so much has happened over the last couple years with this fucking dude. And then this is just the fucking cherry on the cupcake, Jack. It's like, God damn, Khabib, come the fuck on. Then they fucking stuck us with that shit main event. Well,
yeah, that shit was awful.
That criticism.
But okay, Dave, you think it's on Khabib or is it on his management? Because I know we were talking about the manager being fucking shady dude. First of all, if you don't know Ali's story, it's shady as shit. He's got so much shady shit in his past. But just as a manager alone, this guy manages Frankie Edgar, a bunch of dudes. He manages a ton of fighters, right? Yeah. And so now, and thinking about it now, what Fred just said and what Jesse was saying about this being a little too weird. You know what I mean? Do you think maybe they were hiding something? You know, they were hiding something, and Ali just basically pulled some bullshit just to get him out of that fight?
Yeah, I think Jesse and Fred made both great points, and as soon as I heard about it being, you know, real close to fight or to weigh-in time as it was, very suspicious as they didn't know, you know, a standard protocol where Alistair Overeem on the same card had a similar situation where they had to contact the UFC doctor. His fight was somewhat, you know what I mean, in jeopardy, but they, the fight was still, like you said, Eddie, on your previous show and then last week's show, they still had like an emergency weigh-in, the scale's still there. You know, it was a big moment, like Fred said, for Tony and for Khabib. And, you know, when I heard that Khabib wasn't going to be able to fight for the title, at that point I knew the fight was scrapped, but still had hopes that we'd actually see it. And Tony Ferguson, you know, becomes the champion that night, which I thought would have been the case. But back to Abdelaziz, and first of all, how epic would Andy's rip on fucking Abdelaziz would be tonight? Because totally he's at fault here. Because I mean, like Jesse said, we've known shady activity. You mentioned, I mean, he's managed so many fighters. You know, I mean, he's a known guy. He should have known that there was something that he could get to get his guy into the fight, where it was the biggest fucking fight of his career. Whether or not he's going to be able to earn the gold at the end of the night, we would have loved to have had that fight take place on the card that didn't deliver, to say the least. So I just think that, yeah, Ferguson's in a weird place for now. I think he, in a recent interview, said he's got so much, you know, built up that he's going to just spar a bunch of people at different camps, and he's just going to work off all the work that he put in. You know what I mean? Hired a lot of guys like NFL combine trainer type guys to get him ready for the fight. So we know Tony was ready. He actually called it on Khabib at the stare down and said, "Hey, good luck, buddy, with the weigh-in." Look at what happened. Bad. You know what I'm saying?
Khabib looked like shit too.
And then as when you add Conor into the mix now, I mean, like Fred said, I mean, Tony didn't beat Khabib. Conor will say, yeah, that was a fight that I was hoping would take place. It determines, puts us a number one contender, clear number one guy holding the interim gold. So, fuck, man, Tony, I think, would have delivered that night, and we all missed out as hardcore fans on one hell of a fight, whether or not, either guy would have earned the gold. But Abdelaziz, super suspicious on how they just went about going to a random hospital. And Dana went about saying, yeah, we could have totally saved the fight. So very suspicious stuff. And when it's Ali Abdelaziz, it's always suspicious.
What's the thing is I'm not convinced he didn't know what the fuck he was doing. How do you manage that many fighters? And you, I didn't know I could call the UFC. I didn't know I could call this doctor. I didn't know I could call this person. You get the fuck out of here with that shit. You know what I mean? I don't believe for a second. So it's the whole thing's weird. And this is what that dude's history and shit. You do a little bit of research and you can go to I think realfightstories.com. Mike Russell at Mike Russell on Twitter. He's written a whole thing on Ali. If you want to catch up on that shit, it's fucking crazy. And the reason that I believe what Mike Russell says is because everybody else shits on it. All the big names try to shit on it, which tells me it's still at least a little bit of truth to what he says. You know what I mean? That sounds like some Alex Jones, Eddie Bravo shit, but still, I believe a little bit at least what Mike Russell says. All right, real quick on the comments here. Jeremiah says he says, "What up, bitches or biatches, whatever the fuck." His bottom line: it falls on Khabib as a professional to make weight, but I do think there are too many distractions during fight week. That's fucking for sure. Distractions left and right. Remember Ronda got out of that shit at the 207, whatever it was that she fought. Got all that shit. Conor wanted to get out of that shit, got pulled from 200. Regardless of too many distractions. And shout out to Fight Book MMA watching us on the YouTube, and Mike Drives, of course, as usual, one of our most loyal listeners there.
Yo, do y'all feel like this is the worst ever? Like, this was the worst ever for me? Like, literally. I mean, even like with Nick Diaz not getting GSP, that was a bummer. I mean, there's been a couple fights that like kind of got blown out the last minute that sucked, but this was like the worst for me, man. I was really looking forward to this fight, but that shit happened. I think this is like the worst fight cancellation ever, in my opinion.
Jesse says no. He's gonna say RDA, right?
No,
Jones.
I'm gonna say the John Jones DC fight at 200.
That did suck.
That stung really badly because that was gonna be a legit test for everybody there. And then the BS fight that they gave us in the end was the Mark Hunt, Brock Lesnar thing that ended up popping for steroids or whatever. Yeah, that was just bad all around.
True. That was a really bad one. But I guess like they have fought before, so like this one was so, you know what I'm saying, man. One of these guys had to lose, man. This had so much excitement. For me, this was just the worst ever. So
yeah, and it's the third time. Not the first time, it's the third time.
Yeah,
so
true.
Kind of like I'm sort of leaning that we don't see the fight take place. It's one of those matchups that whether the MMA gods, they don't want to allow it, but we've seen some of these matchups before in the history of the UFC where, these guys need to meet up and just never happened. So I doubt that this fight gets rebooked in 2017. And ideally, I guess, I mean, who's Conor supposed to fight? I mean, according to Coach Kavanaugh, he says that he's not totally up on all the updated details, but as far as he knows, he said that the fucking goddamn Mayweather fight's going to happen. So,
Coach Kavanaugh, he might as well be PR guy for Conor McGregor, because that's what all he does is just spew whatever Conor McGregor tells him to spew. But you know what, Fred? I agree with you. I think going into this pay-per-view, I was super, super excited. And I invited a bunch of people over. And we were going to I made hot wings. I made all kinds of food. It was going to be dope. And then that happened. That fight canceled. And I totally wanted to just tell everybody to go screw it. I didn't even go to the pay-per-view. I mean, I think that fight is definitely something that we need to rebook just because us as hardcores, we need to see that fight. I don't even care if it needs to be in the backyard of Dana White's house. It don't matter. It could be one of those Chael Sonnen things, right? Just fly into the city where Khabib's at, bring Tony with you, and a referee, and just let's get it on. Because I just need to see that fight happen.
No, definitely. And I put it out on Twitter right now. You can follow me at Elaw31. Put out a poll. What fight stung the more to lose? Go look at the choices. Take your pick. I put John Jones out at 200. I put Khabib out at 209. I put RDA out at 196. I think those are the three choices that I had on there. So, vote on the poll. End of the show, I'll announce who won, or who everyone thought was the worst. All right. Moving on here. So now we got Tony. Tony wants a Conor fight. Conor may fight Mayweather, may not. Who knows? Like who said that Kavanaugh said it was going to happen? Jesse, you said that?
I
No,
did.
Dave.
Oh, sorry, Dave.
He
Sorry.
has been saying it.
He's been saying that? Okay, because I haven't paid attention to Kavanaugh at all. So, but
Yeah, it was on I think it was Submission Radio is what he said, and he said he's been busy like doing a ton of shit, saying he's buying a house or he's moving, and like Jesse said, I don't know if it's PR, but we're hearing from Daddy Dana that Conor's next fight's indeed an MMA fight, but we're hearing from Coach Kavanaugh himself saying that everything for the Mayweather fight is actually in place. It's just the money, of course, like it always is.
no, definitely.
Come on, think about it, boy. Think about it, guys. Like, if they were able to lock down GSP, the guy that the MMA whatever association toted out there to be the guy that was gonna bring the hammer down on the UFC, they convinced him to basically jump ship and jump back into the UFC. What do you think they're gonna do with Conor? They're gonna crack open their checkbook, write that nice big ass check, and just hand it right over to Conor. And he's gonna be like, all right, let's do it.
Well, they need to. They're gonna have to pay that dude to get him to fight.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, what the fuck? All right, sorry, my computer went ape shit for a second. Real quick on the YouTube comments, Fightbook MMA saying Tony should have the automatic title fight. Mike Jarvis says that's what the UFC gets for not putting a Diaz brothers on that card. Yeah, because they show up to fight, whether they're fucked up or not. They show up to fight.
They would have been on the card.
Here's the thing on that, and I have to mention that they've turned down a bunch of fights.
Yeah, that is true.
They're smart about it though. But it's smart of them to do that, because it makes it worth a little higher, right? More people want to see him. Mm-hmm. Nate only wants a Conor fight. Makes sense. Okay. Would you? Okay. Whoa, let's go on the bullshit. If you're Nate and you know that trilogy is gonna happen, it has to happen. It's too good for business, right?
Whoa, hold up, stop it right there. Listen, let me tell you something, Jack. Nate, listen, I know we all love Nate. Conor McGregor is about to potentially box Floyd Mayweather. Okay, I know Donald Trump is the president, guys, but let's all just come back down to earth for a minute and realize what that means. When Anderson Silva was the man, there were whispers of him boxing Roy Jones Jr., and that shit got laughed at. Conor might actually still rumors box. Now. Yeah, and who gives a fuck now? Who does? I mean, listen.
He said he's coming down to Vegas to go talk to Dana about setting that up. Come on now.
Listen, Roy Jones Jr. just got done boxing the bare knuckle king Bobby, whatever the fuck. Okay, so I don't doubt that could potentially happen. Roy Jones would probably box Anderson Silva in the back of a Popeye's chicken parking lot at this point. But the point is, they never even entertained it. Back when Anderson was champion and he was the fucking king, Conor is the man holding all the chips. Here's what I would like to see Nate Diaz do. I would have liked to seen him take the fight against Eddie Alvarez, because Eddie's only one fight removed from being the champion. That's true. They've got bad blood. If Nate takes that fight and actually finishes Eddie, I know it's slightly risky in the beginning, but then he can call Conor an Irish cunt on fucking network TV or wherever they give him the fight. And then I think it starts to build it. Right now, that trilogy don't really need to happen. Conor's got the pen and he's writing the fucking story. He'll just write Nate right the fuck out. If Nate don't ever fight no more, he'll just be like, Nate who? The guy beat up? And you know how people are, man. His fans, Conor fans, hardcore Conor fans will just be like, that first fight was bullshit. He didn't know how to grapple then. Man, not a grapple. Nate has to come back and demand that rematch with a win, with a good performance. That's how you do it.
I think what Nate's banking on though, is WME making all these freak show fights or these weird fights like GSP fucking Bisping, looking for a money day. I mean, WME's gonna make that third fight.
True, but I mean, I think Nate has to remember how he got that fight initially, right? He beat up, who was it, Michael Johnson?
Michael Johnson on Fox.
Yeah. And then he had that epic, after the fight interview, and that sealed the deal for him. That put him in space.
Sure did.
Saying, you need to go back to what got you to the dance, right? What got you to the dance was fighting, winning impressively, and then calling out the guy.
No, for sure.
Let's not forget too. Also, I don't know if you guys heard Dana. I think it was his post interview 209. His take on money fights. I mean, we all know money fights. That's the Conor fight. Like that's exclusively if you fight Conor Diaz, there are money fights as well. But we gotta. I mean, this money fight trend thing. We gotta straighten this shit out because it basically involves Conor and the Diaz brothers, and that's about it. Everybody else, like for example, Khabib Ferguson, you know, that's a hardcore, the best against the best to prove a #1 contender. So Dana clarified, he's like, hey, if you don't like it, I mean, not everybody's Conor McGregor, you know what I mean? So some people get that twisted up where, oh, Bisping's in a money fight, GSP's in a money fight. It's not a fucking money fight. It's a great fight. It's somewhat of a super fight. And I mean, on that fight, GSP Bisping, that shit's so far away booked that I don't even think the fucking fight happens.
Who knows? And we'll get to that in a second. We'll get to money fights soon because Mr. Tyron Woodley's he's gonna start talking about that shit in a little bit. But real quick to catch up on the YouTube comments. Oh, he will watch. But to catch up on the YouTube comments here. Eastside Riders asking, does Khabib still take the drug test? I mean, look, it might be a thing, right? That might be, maybe he wasn't gonna pass it.
Yeah, he's still he's in USADA, so he's still taking the drug test. I don't know whether they randomly hit for this card, but he's still in the pool of motherfuckers that are getting tested.
Hey, if I'm USADA and I actually give a shit, I actually test them right, like ASAP, like right now, see what the fuck was in the system that you don't want to fight or you want to, you know, get tested post fight. Jeremiah says it was Jeremiah says it was the worst for me too. I was literally sick to my stomach when I heard the news. And Conor will never fight Khabib now. It will be years before we get that fight. Very true. And Conor was, before this fight even went down, Conor was talking about Khabib's not reliable. He doesn't show up. You know what I mean?
Well, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah. Fucking. I mean, does this get called or does he call it? God damn, dude. It's like he knew that Khabib was not going to show.
And then to make things worse, the talks of Khabib from his dad or wherever it came from about him retiring soon. So once I heard that, I mean, I definitely. Yeah. Well, that could be now, 2018, right now. So it's weird. Khabib's in a weird place, big time.
Yeah. No, I almost tell him, like, start thinking about retiring now, motherfucker, because if you keep fucking pulling out of these fights, you ain't going to get no check, because he didn't get a check for this one. I know Tony Ferguson got his show money or something, which, by the way, the show money apparently is going to be more than what he's going to get to fight Michael Johnson, so I don't blame Tony for not taking that fight. Actually, let's talk about that. Do you starting here with Fred, what do you think about Ferguson not taking that Michael Johnson fight?
I mean, shit, I don't blame me, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck, man? What was it, like 6.5 hours before showtime?
Yeah.
Yo, Khabib, that dude's not here, but we rustled up somebody else for you. I mean, listen, if he had taken the fight, I mean, come on, man. I don't know. I guess I'm just speaking as a Khabib fan, but for me, Khabib was the – listen, if every fight has to have an A and a B side, I fucking love Tony. I love Eddie Bravo, the whole fucking Alex Jones, the fucking – I love all of it, okay? But Khabib was the A guy, all right? He was the sauce on the burger, man. Had they done Michael Johnson, Tony Ferguson, that would have been tight. I would have been down, but I still would have been salty. Khabib's the guy. Now, fuck, if they could have drug out Nate Diaz and Nate would have fought, I would have been just as stoked. You know what I'm saying? Like, Khabib's the dude. He's the one that's undefeated. He's the one that we want to see fucking Russia versus the Irish chicken. I mean, let's all be honest here. I know it's some Tony fans out there going, shut the fuck up, bullshit. But, like, in all reality, Khabib was that dude for this fight, man. So, you know, fuck, man. Tony had zero to gain by fighting a dude that's already beat him before. Not to say that he couldn't beat him, and I'm sure that Tony would fight Mike again. But, yeah, man, not on 2 hours' notice. Fuck that, man.
Jesse, what do you think, man? Should he have stepped up and taken that fight? Because I don't think so. I think Tony did the right thing by turning it down.
I think the UFC should have come correct with the money. And I think for Tony, I think getting that fight back would have been a good thing for him, especially because you know for a fact that Michael Johnson was maybe in shape, but not in fighting shape, and he would have had to still cut the weight to get down to within striking distance, right, of the weight limit. So I think the deck definitely would have been stacked in Tony's favor, but that they weren't willing to pay him, what they had originally offered him, that is just retarded. I don't even understand why the UFC would be like, hey, you know what? Do us a favor and stay on the card because, you're kind of a big deal, but we're going to cut your paycheck. Like, who would ever agree to that? Like, okay, so I'm going to do you a favor and you're going to take away my money? No, that's stupid.
No, and that's very true. So I mean, again, and Dave, you and I were talking about this before. Like I'm with it. Don't take that fight. Lose to Michael Johnson. Like, 0 to gain for Tony. Literally 0 to gain for Tony here. And Michael Johnson was like, "Hey, I fucked him up before. Let's see it." right? So what do you think?
Yeah, no, not at all. I mean, it's just too close. I mean, like Fred said, 2 hours, 6 hours, whatever the timetable was. I mean, they hustled Michael Johnson up, and that was a surprise because who would have thought? I mean, that guy would have been a possible opponent for Tony. But yeah, they could have probably, you know what I mean, got the fight to take place as far as the money side. But props for Tony to turn it down because honestly, I think Tony would have shredded fucking Michael Johnson up. But I mean, ultimately, if he did get a fight bonus or a win bonus, it wouldn't still be as much as he would have got paid if he fought Khabib. So I think he said if he's a company guy, you know, I mean, Tony said it in an interview right after, I think Monday. He's like, I make a certain wage for the UFC. I'm a company guy, and you guys want me to do you a favor, and I'm going to get less pay, and it's going to put me back to, you know, right where I was before. And then a risk, who knows, Michael Johnson could have went in there and lit him up. So, but fuck show, though, because that's a hardcore fight that we will never see happen. Tony and Khabib will never fight ever in the UFC. Just calling it right now.
Here's the thing. If they rebook that fight, everybody at 155 on notice because this motherfucker might not make it. All right, you want to get that money? Fucking be on weight that night because fuck that. I mean, shit, Nate Diaz was literally down the street in Vegas. Him and his brother were doing a signing at a dispensary in Vegas, right? And I could just imagine his phone was blowing up. Nate Diaz against Tony Ferguson would have been a legit fight, but there's no way. Yeah. First of all, Dana White thinks that Nate Diaz is 300 pounds, so does Conor. And two, there's no way he makes weight for that shit. You know what I mean? And like,
you know, it's kind of funny that all this shit happens. You know who I think is probably happy as a lark when shit like this happens deep down inside? DW.
Dana.
Oh, Dana White. Yeah.
He's got to be sitting back thinking, that's right, motherfuckers. I told you, cocksuckers. Every day I wake up, bad shit happens. Not my problem. Not my problem. I don't own this motherfucker no more. Fuck y'all. So what? Khabib dropped out fucking 2 hours ago. Whoopsie daisy. Like WME's got a real fucking problem, don't they? They just lost a shitload of money.
The Fertitas are laughing their asses off when that shit happens.
Yeah. You know what he said too? Dana said he got a text in the middle of the night. I don't know if it was from Ali Abdelaziz, and he seen the first text about the concern about Khabib's health, and he said the fight is off. Fucking put his phone on silent and turned over, and he said that in an interview recently. So
said,
that's
"Fuck
awesome.
This." Took another sip of his expensive ass cognac and went to sleep.
Just like Fred said, so same shit. Yeah. Yep.
All right. Let me catch up here on the YouTube comments. Our boy Rusty's on here says, I imagine Conor will lose fans if he keeps up this boxing talk. Still a Conor fan would rather see him defend the belt. Do you think that's true? You think Conor's losing fans with all this boxing shit?
No, look at Fred. Fred is still.
If that Floyd fight happens, nothing will trump that.
That's true.
And they did a malt-top cocktail, one of the Floyd Mayweather vans over in England, right? Germany?
Hey, look, they can't prove anything, but that was funny shit. If you guys missed it, Floyd was in, well, first of all, two things happened. One, Floyd's in, over in the UK, I think it was in the UK, right?
Yeah, UK.
He was doing a show and interview thing. Two things happened. One, someone firebombed to destroy one of his cars, which is fucking hilarious. I get to see one of Conor's people doing that shit. But two, an impersonator who is fucking spot on with the Conor impersonation. If you guys haven't seen this motherfucker, look him up on YouTube somewhere. Just look up Floyd and Conor impersonator, because this guy was gold. He went from dude, I thought it was Conor when I first heard it. When I first watched it, because you can't even see his face. I heard the voice and I'm like, holy shit. And then he switched to Robert De Niro, and I'm like, oh, it's this motherfucker, because I've seen him before. But still, it was so good. But seriously, that whole firebombing Floyd's car, man, what the fuck? That's some gangster shit. You know what I mean? That's some gangster shit. All right. Catching up on the YouTube here. Jeremiah says, well, he should have took that fight, then maybe he would have gotten paid. You guys here only portion. Oh, he's talking about Ferguson should have taken that fight. And then East Side Rider makes a good point. Make more for not fighting, no brainer. Again, supposedly Tony got to show money, and that was gonna be more than to fight Michael Johnson. UFC fucked up, telling him, "Here, we'll pay you this much if you fight Michael Johnson, and if you don't fight, you get the show person." Will be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna take the show for not fighting. I'm cool with that." You know what I mean?
They better have paid him, because I think on his interview with Helwani, he said that it hadn't been paid out to him yet. So hopefully he clarifies soon enough that they paid that man. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think that's what he said last in an interview.
That's pretty fucked, man. All right, let's move on to UFC 209. The event did go down after all. And overall, it was all right card until the main event, right?
No, it wasn't. Don't even lie.
You don't think it was good? I thought it was okay.
The Rashad Evans fight? That was okay.
No. That wasn't the fucking co-main. The co-main was Vannata. I barely look. Well, let's talk about Rashad Evans. You brought him up. Rashad Evans. I mean, look. If anybody looks like they should just stop, it's that dude, right? Like,
No.
And I felt bad for him. Like, he looked physically, he looked good. At the weigh-ins, he looked good. In the fight, physically, he looked good. And old Dan Kelly decked him out with it, just like little short shots and straight rights. But Jesse, what do you think of
that? You know what? I agree with a couple of the journalists out there that said that they scored it for Evans. I think he did look better than a lot of people expected. But man, I think a lot of us called it here that Dan Kelly he's been more active. I think what did Rashad Evans in, not being as active. I don't think I'm ready to call a career for Rashad Evans. I think we could see him have one more fight, maybe against Johnny Hendricks, and then apply that fight rule that they're trying to implement of loser gets a pink slip the night of. But I think Rashad still has a little bit more left in the gas tank. Not a lot, but I think he's still got enough to kind of do like what is it, a Tito Ortiz, Chael Sonnen type deal where it's like the old guys league, just kind of finish off their career at the end here.
Well, that's the thing, though. When they gave Rashad Evans Dan Kelly, I'm like, oh, good. They're not giving him some young gun that's going to fuck him up. They're giving him a guy that's also a veteran, right? And he looked like Rashad looked like he didn't belong.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, Dave, what you think?
Yeah, we talked about it on our pre-show. I mean, Dan Kelly, known tough bastard. We knew he was going to make it tough in there for Rashad, especially coming off, a 3-year layoff. We just don't see a trend of a lot of fighters, coming off that long a layoff, with the exception of the Korean Zombie and who else, Dominic Cruz. So very few, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't expect Rashad to be, have a dominant performance nonetheless. I mean, I thought he was competitive in the fight. He had his moments in the fight, but Dan Kelly, fucking guy, was taped together in the fight and did enough, to take out old Rashad. So I do like Jesse's matchmaking as far as Johnny Hendricks and Rashad. So you need a UFC, Sean Shelby and them. You guys need to book that shit for sure, because Johnny Hendricks is going to be at 85, and Rashad, I agree with Jesse. He's got maybe one more fight, and that is the fight that I'd like to see him in. But as far as him facing like some young gun or something, he dodged a bullet in Dan Kelly, where Dan Kelly just sort of peppered him up. Did enough to win. It was a, lackluster performance, I guess you can say. But Rashad, I don't know, weird place for him too as well. He's somewhere out in space. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, who was Rashad supposed to fight initially?
Tim Kennedy, no?
Kennedy. Yep.
Like a 205, 206.
Tim Kennedy.
Yeah.
Oh my God! What would Tim Kennedy have done to this poor bastard, huh?
Nothing.
No.
Gaslam fucked him up.
Right.
Tim Kennedy got fucked up by a 170 guy, or a fat 170.
Yeah, you really did a good amount of work there, Eddie.
I fucking knew that was gonna come. Anyway,
And
there's a picture of Gaslam in represent gear, and I swear to God, the reason I said it to you guys, I was like, holy shit, I'm never gonna hear the end of it. I'm just gonna tell you guys first to put it out there right away.
Uncanny.
It was weird. It was so weird. All right,
listen, we're done man. Here. Eddie's on a plane to Brazil when we're done with the show, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
This fight sucked, right? There's no sense in us fucking bubble wrapping it. Rashad used to be a marquee guy. He just had a fucking boring fight with Mr. Dad Bod himself. Dan Kelly looks like the toughest guy at your local bar. Now, I know he's fucking great, and I know he's a really tough guy, but let's all gain just a little bit of fucking perspective here. Rashad Evans was supposed to come back and fucking steamroll that guy. I tell you what, I hate to be the type of fucking cocksucker to kick a guy while he's down, but I'm about to put the boots to old fucking gay shot. I want to go ahead and say I think he was overrated. Listen, who was Rashad's 2 biggest wins that catapulted him into stardom?
Chuck Liddell, right?
Chuck and Forrest?
Yeah.
Now, Chuck, we all know, fucking nosedived completely after that. And Forrest pretty much did the same thing.
You know what happened? You know what broke Rashad completely? He broke a lot of guys and John Jones. When he fought John, That was it.
Oh,
He was supposed to be the guy to beat Jones at the time, but
You train with him, yeah.
yeah, because I think after that fight, Rashad nosedived too as well, like Fred said about Chuck. But yeah, here we are now at a whole different weight class, fighting an old fucking veteran that was taped together, and he looked like shit.
That was set up for Rashad to win.
He could get some more fights. I mean, fuck, there's Bellator yet. We could always hustle up a warm body for him to throw some against. But as far as like him being any kind of a threat or a draw,
Zero.
bad news. But judging by that, and listen, who knows? Maybe he'll fucking find some cute little anabolic steroid that they don't test for yet, come back rejuvenated and start kicking ass. But judging by that performance, it's hard to see it, man. It's hard to see it.
Oh, Fred, so you want him to go to Risen? That's what you're talking about. I like
Hey,
that.
Yeah.
Hey,
If you fucking can't beat them, join them.
look, man, you go to Risen, fucking the Risen, I'm gonna go with Risen, whatever. Fucking let everybody juice. I don't give a shit. All right, let's see. 5 Buck MMA says the Coleman was the best fight on the card, and Cynthia was badass with her ground game. We'll talk about that in a second. Jeremiah agrees the Coleman was the fight of the night. Rusty said Rashad looked old. Maybe it's seeing him lighter in weight. It's possible like that. A weight change affects everybody. I thought he had plenty of time to do it though.
Oh,
And
man,
then,
weight change these testicles. He out there looking soft and tender.
And then Eastside Rider says I was a Rashad fan before he was champ, so I want him to retire and save his brain. He has enough in the gas tank to run himself off the cliff. That would hurt me. Think about his family, and that's very true. When you're a fan of of a fighter and you're invested in that. You care about their well-being, and a lot of people on Twitter were saying that right after the fight, like, "Hey, Rashad, hang it up, dude. Like, that's enough." But you can't tell a fighter.
BJ.
Huh?
Come on.
Look at BJ.
Oh shit.
No, I mean, I
BJ.
love BJ, but you know what I'm saying? Fuck, man, he should have
That's a good
never
point.
came back. It's fucking over, Jack.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And then Rusty said, I think they made that fight to cancel out one of them. Not many are interested in either, Dan Kelly or Rashad. It's sort of a good point. I mean, the Bud Light fans are, they don't give a shit about anybody that's been there for a while. They give a shit about Conor and a few of the newer names, maybe Cody. So, and then Eastside Rider asks if Rashad fought Lyoto, and Rusty replies, Rashad lost to Lyoto, second round knockout. And I'm pretty sure that's correct.
Fuck. If
got
you've never
fucked
seen
up.
that goddamn meme, you need to see it. Lyoto
Oh, yeah, the
fucking
stinky
killed
leg.
Rashad. You talk about John Jones. That's
He
what
dirked
took
him.
Rashad's soul. He fucking killed him against the cage with the fucking googly eyes, Jack.
Yeah, he derped him, dude. That was a dirt moment. That was a dirt knockout. Let's talk about the co-main event. David Tamore takes him out, but defeats Lando Vannata by unanimous decision. That was a fun fight. I thought that was a good fight. I thought Lando could have hit the gas a little more, a lot more, honestly. And I thought, look, I had him as a favorite. I thought he was gonna win. But Dave, that's your boy. At least from your side of town. What'd you think of the fight?
No. Go to Fred. Because he's now the conductor of the hype train.
Okay, we'll go Fred. We'll go Fred, Jesse, and then Dave. All right, Fred, go for it.
Hey, I don't give a shit if Lando did lose. I fucking love that fight. Thank fucking Buddha for those boys in that fight that night. And I tell you what, he might have lost that fight, but for all of me, that's one of those fights where there was no loser, right?
Right.
Neither guy got knocked out. Both of them were hurt during the fight. Like that, thank God, man. That was just a good fight. I tell you what, I'm still riding the fucking hype train, Jack. That was a really good fight. I mean, I agree with the decision as far as it goes, but like, I feel like those cats could fight 2 weeks from now and you might get a different outcome. Like, that's what made that fight fun. It felt like at any moment, one of them might knock the fucking other one out cold. And I felt like if they fought tomorrow, it would go right back to that. Like at any moment, somebody's going to get slept. They just, neither one of them got that opportunity. So great fight. Thank fucking God for it.
No, definitely. All right. And Jesse, what do you think of that fight?
Yeah, I agree. I think that was really a savior of the card. I think there was not many highlights of that card. I think there was a lot more lowlights than anything. Maybe just the Overeem Hunt fight at the beginning, right? That was pretty much another exciting thing that we got to see. But I mean, Tamore just surprised me with how he was able to deal with the pressure, and then basically just got Vannata kind of tentative towards the end there. Like you said, Eddie, he just wasn't throwing enough volume for my taste. I think he could have stepped on the gas a little bit more towards the end there and probably cinched up those last rounds. But like Fred said, I don't think this was a bad thing for him. I think this was still a good thing for Lando. I think this still puts his stock pretty high. I think he was the highest, right? No. I think he was the second highest favorite to lose, right? The first was the guy that got beat by Darren Elkins, right?
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that guy also. That was a crazy fight as well. But
Motherfucker won't die.
We'll get to it.
Oh yeah, like, but I gotta say, I'm riding this hype train until the very end with Lando. I think they need to build him up a little bit better. His first fight against Tony Ferguson, last minute fight, very understandable that it went out the way it did. Then his second fight against McDessie, correct? I thought this was quite a bit step up in competition. I think they just needed to give him a little bit more of a more middle of the road type of guy, just to kind of keep him, moving up in the rankings a little bit better. But still, good learning experience for him, and I think he's going to come back better than ever.
All right, so Dave, if I understand this correctly, you're off the Lando Vannata hype train. You're no longer the conductor as Fred Kirby with co-conductor Jesse here. So now you're the bandit trying to derail the motherfucker. So I'm just messing. What do you think of the fight? I mean, look, Lando, and we were talking about this before on our DMs and stuff. I mean, he seems to maybe have bought into his hype a little bit, and he did seem kind of cocky and shit. And actually, Jeremiah just took my point for me in YouTube. On the comments, he says Lando needs to keep his fucking hands up. I agree. He has hands down by his waist, throwing fucking spinning shit. What do you think of the fight?
Yeah, like Fred said, leave it up to Lando and Tamore to deliver on this card where the main event was shite. So props to Lando and David Tamore. I told you guys last week on the pre-show it was going to be a hard-fought decision. Thought Lando would edge him out. I wasn't underestimating David Tamore. I know he was very capable of a performance like that, being that his background in Muay Thai and kickboxing. And like I was telling Fred in the DMs, he basically just, controlled the range better. He moved very, very well. I mean, he moved better than Landon did in any of his fights. I mean, credit to Tamore. He caught him every time Lando was in range, made him pay. I think Lando was headhunting quite a bit in the second and third round. He had some nice takedowns. I think if he had a different sort of game plan where he tried to implement that ground game, he might have stole that fight in a real close toss-up battle. Like I agree with Fred. If they were to fight, 5 times, it'd be, 2-3, 3-2, whatever it may be. I think it's that their styles make for that matchup. So, oh man, I don't think the loss hurts Landon, but I do think he got a bit cocky and a bit arrogant going into the bout. He was already saying that he's planning on calling out a top 15 guy, sort of looking past David Tamore. But David Tamore shining in a win in a big slot, big underdog. It was a card where a lot of underdogs seemingly rose up and delivered some nasty performances. This one really, I mean, it's David Tamore showcased who he is. Bud Light fans probably had no clue who the guy was. Everybody picked Lando by first round KO, but I knew it was going to be a tough fight and a definite test for Lando. So big time learning experience. He'll be back soon enough. Both these guys are very interesting in that division. So yeah, it's a unfortunate setback, but Lando's 24 years old. I think he turns like 25 this week or something like that. So a lot of time to grow and game plan, and he'll be back soon and strong. And I think Tamore's somebody to watch out. His style is fucking great. He moves well. He did his homework against Lando and what he's bringing. So he proved it in there that he's a game opponent at 155. So.
Definitely. If you guys are watching, if you guys do us a huge favor and just retweet the show, it'd be great. Get more people watching this and make this thing a little bigger here, have more fun. And also, the more people watch, the more they, the people interacting shit. We can read more comments, get more questions in. Everything gets good, right? All right, let's talk about Cynthia Calvillo. That was a sick debut, right? Mind you, it's against Amanda Cooper, who was 3-2. Okay, let's just get that out of the way. 3-2. Didn't do so great on the show, but. What was it? ABC shot for like a takedown, and Cynthia just flipped her over, basically landed on top and finished the fight. That was a sick fight. I'm excited about the Cynthia Calvillo girl. I want to see what she can do. Moving on, getting some like real. Now, mind you, 115 is kind of thin, but getting like a real talented chick. I don't want to throw like a Claudia Gadelha at her, or definitely not a JJ or even a KK yet. but still, she showed a lot of promise at 209. Fred, what do you think of that girl?
Yeah, man, you just said it, man. 115's thin as fuck. It was an awesome performance. ABC's very unlikable, including her fucking acronym for her name.
Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ. So yeah, that was pretty good shit, man. For an overall kind of shitty night of fights, that rubbed me the right way. Good stuff.
No, definitely.
Good debut in a division that really needs some fucking prospects. And she was kind of a hot broad too, right? I can't remember.
Yeah, she was cute. She had a little something going on at the ceremonial.
You'd fuck her, Eddie. You'd fuck her.
Hey, look, man, I'm holding out for Grasso. Okay.
You get fucking cobwebs on that little brown cuck.
Whatever, dude. One day she's gonna be like sitting right next to me right here. You guys are gonna be, have to eat your words, motherfuckers. Anyway,
there's the matchup right there. Calvillo and Grasso. There you go.
Isn't Grasso booked already, or no?
No,
I think she is.
Who's she fighting?
I think she might be. I think they had an announcement not too long ago, didn't they?
I thought they did. She's training.
Smoking something.
Yeah, she's training. But anyway, so Khabib, I mean, again, you were looking forward to her fighting again here. Now, Jesse, you were kind of down. Actually, you're very down at 209, even though I said it was decent up until the main event. What'd you think of Cynthia?
I gotta agree with Fred. It was one of another point of where we actually got a finish, and it was exciting, and it's nice to see somebody that takes advantage of the spotlight being put on them. I mean, to be debuting in the UFC on the main event, on pay-per-view, and get the win, that's a lot of pressure to really rise to the occasion, but she did it. Good on her. I wouldn't give her somebody like Grasso. I think I'd give her more like a Paige Van Zandt. Both of those girls kind of need to build themselves back up. They're both kind of, still kind of at the bottom there of the 115 division. So, I mean, both either Calvillo gets a win over a credible fighter like PVZ, or, PVZ starts rebuilding her career, after 2 in a row losses. So,
credible?
I think
Hold up. You say credible?
Well, on that topic, though,
real quick,
she left Team Alpha Male, though, so Cynthia is their girl now to rise up in that division, as PVZ is not affiliated with the Alpha Male anymore.
No, who fucking cares?
A little bit of juice.
Oh, it'll bring something. But Jesse, so you think Paige Van Zandt is credible?
You're telling me that the Metro PCS commercial, all those guys that don't know who the hell anybody is in the UFC, they wouldn't be like, oh, that girl from the Metro PCS commercial.
Well, right, but credible?
That'll be credible.
That's not credible just because they know her. She's like, I mean,
whoa. Did I say credible for the hardcore fans? No. I just said credible.
Oh, all right. I got you. That girl who raced that guy for the pizza and she won and he had to go back to his apartment and fucking pay. That was the dumbest commercial ever.
Stars, come on. What? The stars, that'll put you up there.
Yeah, okay. She's popular. People know who she is. I mean, she's credible. She got her ass beat fucking 2 fights in a row now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna think something else. Maybe she had a win. I don't know. Anyway,
no, she got work.
But Dave, you just mentioned, and again, we're on Cynthia because we can get on Paige Van Zandt. She leaves Alpha Male, and now she's training in Portland supposedly, with the Sonnen's team, Chael Sonnen, up there in Portland, right? So yes. I mean, well, he has something. He has underground. What was it that submission underground and all that stuff he's got going on? So I guess he has a team he's training with up there, but she's up there. But what do you think about Cynthia here? And would you put her against Paige Van Zandt?
Yeah, fuck it. Why not? They just had that little split where she's not affiliated with Alpha Male. She delivered in a big spot, like Jesse or Fred was saying. At that moment, they had to rearrange the card, all the fuckery that happened. So she delivered, and everybody knows who she is now, happening on the main card. So I think in that division, she's a great addition. It's just going to be interesting what they decide to do with her. I looked into Grasso. It doesn't look like she has a fight booked through Tapology right now. I don't know if it was like official or if it's just a rumor, but that would be a matchup too as well. But Paige Van Zandt, I mean, yeah, everybody knows her from Metro PCS, Dancing with the Stars. So yeah, that'd be an ideal matchup, as they are familiar with each other. So I think it's kind of strange how she left and then Calvillo delivered. Their training partners, and they're basically, Calvillo is the next the next thing, as Team Alpha Male has these guys that keep coming up, and like Dominic Cruz type situation where he's fought their whole camp for 8 straight years. You know what I'm saying? So be cool to see her rise up. She's got some sick ground game, and man, that was a hell of a fucking back take in that matchup. So I think, yeah, ABC, they wanted to see where she stood in that division. Calvillo way ahead of her in the game. So yeah, she put her out in impressive fashion. Very high on Calvillo, and looking forward to seeing her compete soon enough. She's very fresh.
Definitely. And of course, I was expecting someone to come up with this. Jeremiah goes, that ass though on Cooper is something else. Hey, I'm not gonna disagree with that one. All right, and then the last fight on the main card here, Alistair Overeem KO Mark Hunt with that knee though, after being sick. First of all, who the fuck eats sushi like on a fight week? I mean, isn't that taking like a big fucking risk?
Wait. Are you gonna? You should put that in the same category as Diego Sanchez eating steak tartare the day before a fight.
Yeah, I mean, fucking eat.
Diego Sanchez is legally insane though, so it's all good.
How many times the guy has to change his fucking nickname? Like 8. It's like 8
No, I'm
times
serious.
now?
Have you ever heard Diego Sanchez give an interview before? That motherfucker
He's
is
all
not
over the
playing
place
with a full deck.
That guy, and people want to shit talk Nick Diaz on interviews. Listen to Diego Sanchez give an interview, all right? Holy fuck. You would lose your mind.
Fucking Nick Diaz sound like fucking Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Kind of, right? Yeah, anyway, Overeem supposedly sick. Didn't tell anybody. We didn't find out till Dana White came and said thank you at the press conference, which, by the way, you can say thank you off camera. You can say thank you off stage. That shit was on purpose. Dana White wanted everyone to know that Alistair Overeem was sick, allegedly, before the fight, right? But regardless, he finishes Mark Hunt with a nasty knee. Mark Hunt, who was forced to take the fight, supposedly. So let's talk about Overeem first here, Fred. What do you do with him next? He earned, no, I won't say a title shot, but we're light at heavyweight, man.
Nah, man, that's the thing, man. Heavyweight is just light. I'm very about all that. I don't give a fuck, man. Mark Hunt's 197 years old. He wasn't even supposed to have the run that he had 4 years ago. Fucking Overeem, yeah, he won the fight, but he was fucking dancing around on ice skates before. I mean, if you flick that big dummy in the chin hard enough, he's fucking wobbling all around. So as far as like me being excited for Overeem to come be some extravagant heavyweight champion, that boat has sailed, Jack. It sailed back in the K1 days, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. I'm excited for fucking Francis Ngannou and the newer heavyweights. There's a heavyweight is old to me. You know what I'm saying? Like metaphorically and literally, it's old, man. Fuck, we were still dealing with Overeem and fucking Mark Hunt and huge slots for spots that are kind of meaningless. What, he wins one fight and it's like, well, maybe he can fight for the title.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh man, fucking whatever, man. Give him fucking let him try to get back one of the 9 KO losses he's had. Let him fight Travis Brown or some shit.
They were talking about Ngannou, but I think Ngannou fucks Overeem up.
Yeah, well, there you go. Feed him to the bear.
Dave, you doing Ngannou Overeem?
I guess so. I mean, they already have a main event for that. Was it the Stockholm card that's coming up, right?
Yeah.
So that's not a possibility. I thought that might be, good timing, but I think the UFC knows what they have in Ngannou. They have a special thing lined up for him. Maybe he gets the winner of Stipe JDS. Maybe they get him Kane, but at the rate AKA is pulling out of fights, they could book that fight, however many times. It just won't happen. I mean, Kane is a figure at the top of the heavyweight division. Would love to see Ngannou against him. And that'll definitely show us what we have in Ngannou, which I think he could. Yeah, he's capable of getting that belt. I mean, even right now, if say fucking JDS drops and they put Ngannou for the title, he takes the fucking title, in my opinion. When they talk about Alice Ngannou, for sure.
Okay.
Yep. And if the Derek Lewis is the other guy who's injured right now, that makes the heavyweight division interesting. So if you wanted to match him and Alistair up, I mean, that's a cool fight. It kind of, I mean, Derek Lewis, we know he's going to put him, like Fred said, he touched Alistair on the chin. He's spinning around and he's out of it pretty much. But then again, he's got the knees. Look at what he did to Mark Hunt. He could easily do that to Derek Lewis, in my opinion. So that's an interesting fight. I don't know how long Derek Lewis is sidelined, but I think the UFC has like something set up special for Ngannou. And I think Dana White somewhat hinted at he already has it set up. Basically, whatever winner of I'm thinking it's the winner of Stipe, or else if you got Kane lined up, and then they have like some type of backup plan when they do book that. Because yeah, Kane is the guy that I do want to see Ngannou fight, but the Reem, no way he sniffs another title shot. But it is heavyweight, like Fred said. These talks of one win in that type of fashion, where he does finish a guy who's really tough to finish, in Mark Hunt. Yeah, that's a good win, a good quality win. But he's 88 years old, like Fred said. So we want to see the new guys rise up, and Derek Lewis and Ngannou, Overeem's got to fight one of them unless they give Ngannou the title shot. So
I want to see Overeem Verdum.
Yeah, well, Verdum is another guy, I guess, as a wild card. I guess you throw in there too, because
Verdum's
there.
Only for Jesse's benefit. I want to be able to shit talk Verdum. That's it.
I think they probably keep Ngannou away from Verdum for sure. That's why I'm thinking they have something special lined up for him.
Yeah, you don't really want to feed him. Look, you got to give Verdum all the credit in the world. He's one of the top 3 heavyweights in MMA ever, probably. Or easily. But against Ngannou, I mean, you really want to see Verdum take him down and fucking take his arm or his leg or whatever the fuck. Verdum's not a small guy. He's not an easy guy to fight, even on the feet. His hands have gotten real good. So,
yeah.
But Jesse, what do you think about that though? Would you put Overeem against who'd you put Overeem against? How's that?
Oh man, that's kind of a tough choice because I mean he's so high in the rankings. Man, it's kind of hard to really give him somebody that he hasn't already fought before and either lost to or beat. And pretty much everybody else is kind of tied up already, right? So, I mean, unless you want to throw him somebody like way down in the rankings, kind of like another guy that fought that night was Marcin Tybura, or even, Curtis Blades. You know, one of those guys that are kind of lower in the rankings just to kind of keep him busy. But I would rather them keep him away from both Francis Ngannou and Derek Lewis. I kind of want those guys to kind of rise naturally and get their title shot without fighting, somebody that's going to, land a potential fight-ending shot and then they don't get a shot at the title. Because like we've talked about before, I think we need this fresh blood here in heavyweight. Without it being destroyed by these old timers that are just sticking around and really not doing anything with once they get a title shot. Because I mean, do we really want to see Overeem again? Get knocked silly by Stipe, who's got pretty much he's got heavy hands, but he doesn't have as heavy hands as other people in the division. So I don't know, man. I would probably give him somebody lower in the rankings and just kind of keep him busy, keep him away from the top people.
Okay, well that's cool.
And also, for our listeners, just so you know, I don't know if you've seen the picture of Alistair with Ngannou, but Ngannou's fist is as big as Alistair's head, so you know.
Game over. All right.
Nice.
All right, we'll go through the and Rusty on YouTube says Overeem's never sure bet, and he also says I would like to see Ngannou versus Struve. Isn't that the fight they booked?
I think I heard that.
Ngannou Struve? I'm pretty sure because Struve's gonna die or something. That's the first tweet I saw. Oh no, I'm taking it back. Struve actually tweeted out and shut that down and put a picture out of him and Ngannou hugging.
See, there you go, smart man.
Yeah, he's like, no, fuck that, fuck that. All right, that's what he said basically. All right, real quick, fly through the undercard before we get to the one fight of a fucking zombie. Martin Tybura takes out Luis Enrique de Silva in the 3rd round by TKO. In a fight that everyone said it was like a weird stoppage or whatever. Yuri Alcantara takes out Luke Sanders by knee bar, which is slick as shit. First of all, if you thought Sanders was gonna, knock out Yuri, no. All right, I said it the whole time. That dude's jiu-jitsu is slick as shit. It's crazy. Mark Godbeer, huh? No, he didn't. Shut up.
Sanders was ready to TKO him in the 1st round. It was close.
No. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna pull the fucking Fast and Furious line. You never had your car. You never had anything. Winning's winning, bitch. What's up? I'm playing. That was he was in a good spot. He just made one mistake. And then anyway, Mark Godbeer and Daniel Smith put everyone to sleep. Tyson Page against Paul Craig. Page actually knocked him the fuck out with some elbows in the 1st round. You can't fuck with that guy. All right, Paul Craig got way too confident. I'll say that much. And then in the first fight of the night, Albert Morales takes out Andre, impossible last name, by split decision. It actually was a pretty decent fight. But let's talk about the fight that mattered at 209. The biggest ugliest, most insane comeback ever. Darren Elkins, like he's saying, every time he fights, I pick against him. Except for this one. I didn't pick against him this time for the fact that he won't die. So I picked Darren Elkins just for the fact that he will not die. And holy shit did he come through. Getting his ass whooped on. And then TKO's, what's his name again? Fucking who cares? He lost. But
Mirsad Bektic.
that motherfucker knocked him clear out in one of the biggest, like one of the craziest comebacks ever. It was insane. Yeah. Dave knows Dave knows that I call this motherfucker a zombie. First of all, I want to see him against the Korean zombie, see what happens. But Darren Elkins just won't die. Dave, what'd you think of that fucking insane comeback?
Man, I really love that fight. I mean, that's what kind of made UFC 209 interesting. And those who did know Darren Elkins were not surprised, you know what I'm saying? Because this guy is just, he won't kill or be killed, Darren Elkins, you know what I mean? Because, like, on the show, I'm pretty sure you and I are the only ones that picked Elkins, correct?
I think so.
Because I think, Robert picked Bektic. And, yeah, I think, Jesse, you had Bektic too, right?
Yep.
Yeah, see, so where the odds were, I mean, it was a night of underdogs delivering, but the way he was getting his ass beat early in that fight, I had me worried because I thought Rashad Bektic was a guy who really could rise up, and a victory over Darren Elkins puts him into big-time matchmaking, you know what I'm saying? Because Korean Zombie, Yair, we don't know how long T-City's out for a little while. The 45 division is actually the most interesting division, in my opinion, right now. So you insert Darren Elkins against any of them top guys, and more than likely I'm going to take Darren Elkins. Because after this one, man, I mean, I don't know how long he's going to take off, but instant classic, unbelievable performance. You'll never see stuff like that. You know, very often you see it like in Bellator, there's comebacks. I've seen some fights, you know, where they're back and forth like that. But in the UFC, on the stage like that it was, against a pretty good name, a rising contender, Elkins just said, fuck your contenders, and I'm still here, and I'm not dying. You know what I mean? The guy just refuses to die, and props to him, man. He's rose up the bastard list, and he holds the number 2 slot currently right now. So props to that man, Darren Elkins, earning a bonus on the night, and fantastic finish. And actually, you need to go back and watch that fight at least one or two more times.
No, definitely. And look, Fred, you know, that dude just won't die. I don't understand it.
Okay, so listen, I gotta go here in 1 second, fellas.
Okay.
But I'm gonna break this down for y'all right now. Now listen, let me start off by saying, fantastic fight, great fight on a relatively fucking lackluster card. Tremendous comeback, no doubt about it. One of the better comebacks possibly ever. But now I ask you, if I had y'all's mothers tied up and I was about to kick those old birds off a cliff and these motherfuckers were going to have a rematch and I said pick the winner, would any of you poor pricks actually pick Darren Elkins to win a rematch? If your fucking mama depended on it?
You can't put that on like that. It's fucked up.
Bullshit. Nobody's fucking, listen, that's cute that he did that. And that's why we love this sport. But let's be honest, Darren Elkins was taking a fucking beating in that fight. He was leaking like a sieve. Special, man. It's incredible that he did it. He deserves all the credit in the world. But that was some lucky shit if I've ever fucking seen it, Jack. All right, fellas, I gotta go. I'll catch y'all next week.
All right, man. Thanks for coming on.
All right, later, guys. Later, boys.
Peace out, Fred.
Hey, Eddie, Jesse, I got a matchup, or it's different from what Fred was putting out there. I think if you put Darren Elkins against like Yair or the Zombie, or even Eddie, we were talking about Jason Knight. I mean, who do you guys got in those type of matchmaking? You know what I'm saying?
Jason Knight against the Elkins. Why not? Fuck it.
Well, Yair Rodriguez against Elkins. I mean, just say it did.
Okay, Yair's gonna fuck him up. You really want to do that? He's not gonna be like Bektic, who lets that motherfucker live.
Yeah, it's.
I think this is the problem with a lot of times that we see somebody perform like this. We might as well call this the Lando Vannata effect, right? Sure. Where somebody does a great performance, really, you know, puts on a show, and now we want to throw him into like, you know, the deep end of the pool, right? Mm-hmm. And I think you know, Darren Elkins, he's been around for a while, but I mean, And all the time he's been around, he hasn't really risen to the top. There's a specific reason why. You know, and I think Rashad came in with a lot of hype, but I think it has to be tempered by the fact that he blew his load, got tired, and just got sloppy at the end there. I mean, you look at that finishing sequence. What did he do? He did the Brock Lesnar thing, right? As soon as he got punched, he turned his head away from the punch, and he never saw that kick coming. Even though the punch pretty much put him away, the kick that landed still did enough damage more to kind of seal the deal, right? Then he flopped over, you know, like he was a dummy, you know. What was he like in a yoga pose at the end of the fight there, just kind of like, you know, on his neck and head. But I think it's a learning experience for a guy that was undefeated up until that point. But I don't think we should, you know, shove Elkins there into the deep end of the water again and, you know, hope that we get another performance like this. Because, I mean, all night I was saying, man, he has the damage on his chest right there. But is that meant to indicate that he receives all the damage and then eventually he wins the fight? Or is he just doing the damage? Because, I mean, those first 2 rounds, he was not doing any damage, guys. He was just getting...
Here's the thing. That tattoo has nothing to do with fighting, dude. Nothing to do with fighting. That tattoo is from whatever chick gets with that motherfucker. She thinks, is he retarded or something? She's the damage. You're like, all right, I got it.
One hell of a night for Darren Elkins, though.
Yeah. Real quick, I gotta talk about this because I keep seeing it tweet, but like they're tweeting back and forth, and it's like legit beef. You know, Diaz and Snowden, right?
Yeah.
Snowden, constant kind of the week in this show, and Diaz, okay. You know, we talk about it once in a while. They're shitting on each other on Twitter right now, like going back and forth. Now, if you guys have ever seen Twitter beef, it's usually pretty petty, but I've never seen these two go at it like this before, and it's fucking hilarious. So, if you want a good fucking laugh, just please go read this shit. This is hilarious. Okay, it's getting fucking dumb and funny. All right, I love when, you know, trolls take on trolls, kind of. Anyway, but all right, let's move on here to the because we're running out of time already. We spent way too much time going over 209, like a ridiculous amount of time. Bisping versus GSP. We'll end the show with that and fight booking, so we're running out of time. Bisping and GSP. Bisping showed up to the press conference drunk as fuck, supposedly, according to GSP. Right? He spoke like he was drunk as fuck. Jesse, do you think he was drunk?
Was it a Friday day? Yeah, he was in Vegas.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty sure he was drunk.
Okay, because the shit he was saying. I mean, look, he comes in and right away just fucking picks up the microphone because GSP's talking. And they're asking him questions, he's answering questions and shit. And Bisping just goes, "Nobody gives a fuck." And it's like, oh no.
No. He said it like a drunk uncle at a party, right? Nobody gives a fuck. Like he was so. You could tell, like, you know, and his voice was all hoarse from probably yelling at people the night before. Did he have an altercation with Eddie Bravo, like a yelling match with Eddie Bravo the night?
Yeah, at the MMA Awards.
Yeah, he was trying to compliment him.
Right, Eddie Bravo was like, "I'm trying to give you props, dude. What the fuck?" And Bisping's like talking shit to him. It's like it was the weirdest shit ever.
Yeah, because Eddie Bravo said, "You've improved over the last couple fights." Like, oh, so I wasn't good before? Like, dude, that's total drunk talk right there, right?
Did you hear Bisping though? He did say that he could come off of like a weekend bender and hand GSP his ass. So he was totally owning him as far as trash talking. Because
GSP doesn't trash talk. GSP can't trash talk for shit. I'm not impressed with your performance. Was the best he can come out with.
Yeah, it was
his best.
Typical
like,
George.
So stop it. You're embarrassing yourself. Right? Like that was the best he could do. You're embarrassing yourself. Like, ooh. You know, don't slip any cuss words in there, GSP. You might ruin your image with, you know, some of your sponsors. But man, like, it's terrible that we're gonna have a lead up to a fight between these two guys, where one guy's gonna be doing all the trash talking, while the other guy is like, you know, the preppy school kid that, you know, can only come up with like really, really bad trash talk. This is gonna be what was it, Dominic Cruz and Cody Garbrandt, right? Where Cody Garbrandt was just getting like utterly destroyed and couldn't even come up with anything except without the anger. So it's just going to be.
It's going to be all for nothing, though, because the fight probably doesn't even happen. We don't know if there's a date. It's just like hopes and dreams. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're talking. What are they saying? UFC 216 or some shit?
What, like in December? That's like
No,
fucking
it's like,
8 months away.
They said July.
July? Okay, well, maybe July. We'll see. I don't know.
They're hoping that, because that's a recent trend too. They've been booking fights that are not really like set in stone. I mean, when they booked Derek Lewis against Travis Brown, they didn't even know if he can get into Canada. So they're booking these fights without even dates, whatever. Dana's is like, yeah, just get excited about it. And yeah, Bisping GSP. UFC is great again.
Let's talk fight bookings, man. We're running out of time. What do you got?
All right, 4 big ones. We are going to see the debut of Mr. 2 champion World Series of Fighting, David Branch, taking on Krzysztof Jotko.
Just because Fred's not here, did it for him. Go
ahead. Eddie Alvarez isn't dead. He's fighting Dusty Poirier, and that's a damn good fight.
Fuck yeah, it's a sick fight.
Yep, and they're stacking up UFC Dallas, so that's why that card, I don't know, maybe.
Oh, that's what I thought about. Isn't Cody Garbrandt fighting on that?
TJ.
No, that's International Fight Week, I thought, right? Or it's the day. It's like a two event weekend where there's the tough finale, and then the following night will be TJ, and they'll be doing their thing. And I think what did Garbrandt choke out TJ like in the Tough House or something like that, right?
I'm not watching that shit. Is he even on TV yet?
I probably won't catch any of it.
I'm not watching that shit. I don't give a fuck.
But
it's okay. I'll watch it for you guys and tell you guys all about it. But I think it's one of those things. It's the what is it, the John Jones DC thing where he kind of pushed him by grabbing him by the throat. That's basically what it looks like he did.
But that's how you handle a snake, he said, right?
Yeah. Here's the thing. Sorry, TJ fucking is buying in that snake shit. Him and fucking Dwayne Bang are tweeting the shit out of that. So it's
terrible too. It's terrible. Yeah.
Oh, it's awful. But hey, look, props to Cody for not just talking shit. He grabbed that motherfucker by the neck, and I bet you TJ's reaction is laughter, nervous laughter. You fucking the wrong dude. What else you got?
The middleweight division moves forward slightly or so. I know we got Chris Weidman and Gegard got a date coming up soon, but we got Jacare against Robert Whittaker.
Okay, I'll do it this time.
Go ahead. Yeah, seriously. But
I mean,
Jacare should be fighting for the title. He'll know you out, and Bisping's running from both. So
Jacare's he's the Damian Maia of the middleweight division. So and also the Fox card, what is it? The Nashville card, headlined now by none other than the man himself, Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson, and Wilson Hayes. They actually gave him the fight. So does he have a chance?
Probably not. Let's be honest. I can't tell you with any confidence. What's up?
Stop it. We're gonna the MMA gods, and then Mighty Mouse is gonna go out there and pull a hamstring in the middle of the fight and lose.
Fuck yes, all right. Something, anything at this point.
Well, he fought his last fight too, but he still fucking got the job done, even though he was somewhat tested, I guess you could say, early in the fight. But what else? Final thoughts, though, guys. I mean, defend or vacate. We've heard it. Tony and Conor, defend or vacate. Get Jason Knight a fight. Who the fuck is that guy fighting next? They need to get that guy a fight. So it has to be Darren Elkins or whoever it may be. We'll end the show with featherweight matchmaking because it's the division that we're finally going to have a real champion with Max and Jose, but have Darren Elkins on standby notice in case anybody drops out of that one. So, and I think Yair Rodriguez has a fight booked as well too. I think it's going to be announced very soon.
Yeah. By the way, for my vote for Cunt of the Week is Tyron Woodley.
Tyron Woodley's Cunt of the Week?
My cunt of the week is Sal D'Amato for his 10-8 bullshit 5th round for Woodley. Fuck that guy.
Wait. I can still believe that more so than going to the press conference and saying that fight was an entertaining fight, and I am now the greatest heavy or whatever middleweight champion or whatever. Like, come on, really? You're gonna tell the fans how they should feel about your boring ass fight and then proclaim yourself the best ever? Yeah, you're a cunt.
There you go. Yeah, and that's what. And Ali Abdelaziz is an Israeli cunt spy, as Andy would say if he's on the show. And I blame him for everything that Khabib's fallout, for sure.
I don't even think he's Israeli, dude. I don't know what he is.
Andy used to always say that, so we'll.
Yeah, Andy used to say that. He would say that. He's fucking crazy. Anything else you guys want to bring up before we go? Because it's time to go.
I'll have a known tough bastard top 10 list soon enough. You guys will hear about that.
Keep a lookout for that. All right, fellas. Thanks for joining. You guys can follow Fred Kirby at Kirby_MMA. Jesse's over at Spot 1983. Dave is at Dave's MMA Brief. I'm at Elaw31. Pages are CrossBonesMMA. Of course, CrossBonesMMA.com. Shout out to Fightbook MMA. Thanks for coming on the show last for the UFC 209 preview and all that, and shouting us out all the time. Shout out to Jeremiah, Mike Jarvis, Rusty, Eastside Rider. Who else we get in the comments today? Anybody that watches the show, we really appreciate you guys. And of course, big shout out to Represent. Good people, great company, great shit to buy, wear, hats, shirts, everything, sweatshirts, as Dave is showing right there. And go get yourself some good shit at reptheadvocates.com. That is REP, theadvocates.com. Hit that up, get yourself some good shit, and hopefully we'll have some giveaways sometime soon here. So we're working on a lot of big things here. A couple new shows that are going to be coming up. Not putting out any spoilers yet, but believe me, you guys are going to like what we got coming up because it is bomb shit. All right, promise. All right, so again, thanks for coming on. Dave, thanks for coming on. Thanks, Jesse. Shout out to Fred. And as always, good night, Wiltshire.